Hello everyone. So let us start discussing section B of paper 25-26. We are already done with the discussion of this paper with section A. So today we are going to start with section B. What is the difference between the default parameters and the positional parameters in Python? Also give an example of a function header which uses both. So we have to check the difference between the default and the positional parameters. First, let us go with one point in between these two, which is the definition. I think is enough. And then we can go one example to define default and positional parameters. So first I am writing default parameters. So as we all know, default arguments or default parameters are the values that are provided while defining a functions are provided while defining the function, and it is always on the right. So assignment operator is actually used to assign the values to the default parameter. Anything is fine, you can write assignment operator. That is equal is used to assign a default value to the parameter. Okay, that is for default, and we can take one example. For default, if I'll go for the header, def add, and suppose two arguments are there, A and B, if you are taking for default, so B equal to 1. So this is the default argument, right? Next is the positional parameter. So positional parameter during function call, values passed. In positional parameter, values are passed through argument and those arguments should be in the same order, in the order of parameters in the function definition. Okay, so that is why they are function definition. That is why they are called positional argument, because here position matters. So if I'll go with this, we have the def and then add is suppose the name. So you have three parameter A, B, C, and then you can write a print statement A, B, C, whatever you want to write, and when you will call this function, so add, and then you have to pass the values. Okay, so this is the example for positional argument. So let me show you the full answer now. Default parameters are provided while defining the function. Assignment operator is used to assign a default value to the parameter. This one, okay? So if in case you are not providing any value to this B variable, it will be taking the value which is given by the user using assignment operator, okay? And positional argument, the main thing is the argument values will be passed in the same order, which is its position. So in this example, like this 1 will go to variable A, 2 will go to B, and 30 will go to C. And the same values will be displayed by this print statement. Okay. So this is question number 22. Next is write a Python statement to perform the following task. Use built-in function. Built-in functions are the predefined functions. So we have to use the predefined function to do this task. To create a new list. So we have to create a new list L1 containing the elements of L arranged in ascending order, but without modifying the list L. So if you remember, if you memorize these predefined functions, we have two functions. We have the sort function, we have sorted function. So sort function will work on the same list, but they are asking you not to modify the list which is the existing one. So sorted function will be used, and the new list is L1. So the answer is L1 is equal to sorted, and then you write this list. So this list will be sorted in ascending order, and will store those sorted values into which variable? L1 variable. Okay, so I hope you all did this question correctly. Statement to check whether the given character CH is an alphabet or a number. So given character, we have to check whether it is one alphabet or number. So we have for alphabet alpha, and for number it is num, okay, digit. But we have to check it for both. So L num is there. So what you will write? CH dot is L num, and it is a predefined function. So function ends with the parenthesis. So that's the answer for 23 B part. Okay. Now 24 first one. Assuming that D1 is a dictionary in Python. So we know the concept of dictionary. Write a Python expression to check if the key RNO is present in D1 or not. So how can we check for the key? You know very well, if on a dictionary you are applying your for loop, or if you are using that membership operator also, that will work on its key, not on value. So RNO is the key, right? Is if the key RNO, so RNO is a key. So if you want to check for a key, means directly it will go with the membership operator in. So you can write RNO, roll number, okay, in, and then you will write in which dictionary, D1, and then colon. So it will return true or false whether this roll number is present as a key in dictionary D1 or not. Okay, now the second one, write a Python expression to check if any key in D1 has a value 12. So we have to check for value. So for value means it should only work with value. Direct access is for key only. So if you want to work on value, you have option to write a function D1 dot values. Okay, D1 dot value. Now you give bracket. Now that means it will give you only the values in a form of a list, and you have to check for 12. So 12 in D1 dot value. So this is quite simple. Then second part, write a single statement using a built-in function to add the key value pair. RNO 12 is the key RNO is not present in the D1. If they are checking for a string type of stuff, you can give it in single quote here also. RNO 12, if the key RNO is not present in D1, however, if the key RNO is present, the function should return its value. So if you remember, for that purpose, we have a predefined function called set default. In which dictionary? D1 dictionary. So what you will write? D1 dot set default, and then you give this RNO and 12. Okay, so if it is there, fine. If it is not there, then this will be added into the dictionary. Now write a single statement to delete all the elements. We have del function statement, del, and then D1. If we are giving a key, means that particular value will be removed. Otherwise, if we are writing D1, all the elements of this D1 list will be deleted or removed with the help of this del statement. Now next to this we have a 25 one. What possible output from the given options will not be displayed? So we have to search for the wrong answer when the following code is executed. Also mention for how many iterations the for loop in the given code will run. So we have import random. They are importing this random module. A equal to 1 to 6. For loop is working I in range 0, 4. So if only 4 is given, this will work as AND value, right? 4 will work as AND value, and the default start is 0. So I values are 0, 1, 2 and 3. So they are asking how many times this for loop will work. It will work 4 times. Okay, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now when the value of I is equal to 1, the j is possible to have. J is equal to rand range. So range function won't consider the last value, right? So it will take from I to, I value is 0, not 1. Okay, first time it is 0. So 0 to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. For j, these 4 values are 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 values are possible. But the point is, it is not working directly on j value. It is working with aj. That means A0, A1, A2, A3 and A4. So these are the values and position we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So any value is possible from 0 to 4 position, which are values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Values are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So any value is possible in between 1 to 5. So the first one you check, only this one. So 3 is fine, which is possible. Then we have 4, then we have 2 and 5. So everything is possible. There is no change in this. Okay, now we have elimination method only we have to use in random module function. So I equal to 1. Now j will start from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the positions. So values are from 2. Position 1 is element 2. 2, 3, 4, 5. Values are 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let me write all together first. Now when I equal to 2, j will work for 2, 3, 4. And when I is equal to 3, j will work for 3 and 4. Now if I'll go for the elements which are written in red ink. So at position 2 element is 3, 4 and 5. And at position 3, 4 and 5. So these are the values. Now one by one we can check these values. So for the first one you check any value in between 1 to 5 is possible. That's correct only. For the second one, when I is equal to 1, you check the possible values are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the possible values are for I, when I equal to 1. So the values are, no, it is wrong only. Na? I wrote it wrongly. The values are, position are 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the values are 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 minute. 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine. Yeah. So 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you check. 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from 1 to 4, 4 is there. So 5 is there everywhere. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5. That means 1 is not possible. So 4 is fine. 2 is fine. 3 is fine. But 1 is not possible because it is starting from position 1. Element is 2. 1 is not possible. So this D you eliminated, right? Now more than one options are also possible. Now outputs is written. Now you check for the third one. So third value is 3, 4, 5. 5 is fine. 4 is fine. 3 is fine. And 3, 4, 5. So 2 is not fine. 2 is wrong again. And then for the last one, 4, 5. 4, 5, 5, 4. That's correct only. So only one option is coming. That is option D here. Okay, option D is not possible. Right, option D is not possible. Now I am moving to the next question, which is question number 26. So the function given below is written to accept a string S as a parameter and return the number of vowels appearing in the string. The code has certain errors. Observe the code carefully and rewrite it after removing all the logical and the syntax error. Underline all the corrections made. Now we have one def, which is a keyword used to define a function. The name of the function is count vowels and s colon. C is equal to 0 for ch in range. S in range function will work on number value. S is a string, right? S is a string argument. So obviously it is wrong only. If you want to write it correctly, it should work for the length of the string. So you can write here length of string. Actually, you have two options. You can remove this in range function also and you can write ch in s. Okay, I mean this is also correct for ch in s. Okay, brackets is optional only. So if you want, then you can remove it brackets. So C1 in S is also fine, or if you are writing length of S, that is also fine. Now what they are doing, they have to check for vowels. See, we have to return the number of vowels. So vowel in CH, no, that's wrong only, na? CH in vowel, right? So for CH in, the correct one is, but CH is not a character, S of CH. So if I am considering this part means S of CH in A, E, I, O, U. Capital A, E, I, O, U. So if S of CH in A, E, I, O, U, then C plus is equal to 1, right? C plus is equal to 1 because every time we are increasing the value of C. So C is a counter for counting the number of vowels present in the string. So we have to return the number of vowels, right? So that is the value of variable C. So it is done. If I'll go for this, what will be the correction? If you will write CH in A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. So if CH in A capital is equal to 1 and then return C, which will be parallel to this for loop. So well, anything is fine. Both are correct. You can consider this in membership operator to execute this for loop, or even you can use in range function, or you can use in membership operator, because both are correct only, and as such the working is not based on the index of the element. So in range function is also fine, and in membership operator is also fine. Well, more appropriate one is the second one only. Both are correct, no problem at all. Okay. Miss Zoya is a production manager in a factory which packages mineral water. She decided to create a table in a database to keep track of the stock present in the factory. Each record of the table will have the following fields. So what all the fields are there? W underscore code, code of the item, and the data type for this is character and the size is 5. W description is a description of the item, varchar 20. B quantity, balance quantity of the item, type integer. U price, unit price of the item, type float. The name of the table is W stock. So write an SQL command to create the above table, and we have to consider this W underscore code field as the primary key. So you have to create a table here. Create table, W code, W description, B quantity and price. So let us go for it. Okay, so what I'll write here, it is create table. Table name is W stock. Then bracket I'm writing down. The first field name is W code. The size is character and the size is 5. They are asking you to consider this as primary key. So give a space there and primary key. Put a comma, then W underscore description. Varchar, the size is 20. Varchar and the size is 20. Then the third one is B quantity of integer type. And then you have U price, I think. Yeah, U underscore price. U underscore price, that is of float type. So while we declared all the four, close it and then semicolon. So create table, table name, and what all the fields are there, they will be written under parenthesis, and you have to end it with semicolon. If any constraint is there, that will be added along with the data type. So this is very simple question. Next part is the B part or part. Can U price be the primary key of the above table? U price. Obviously not. It is not a good choice to keep this U price as primary key, because the two main condition for keeping any key as primary key is it should be unique and not null. Okay. So not null is fine, because if one element, if one object is there, so obviously we will be having price whether big or small. But you know, sometimes the price is same for multiple product. So same is also not possible. It should be unique. So U price is not a good choice to keep the primary key. Now, assuming that the table W stock is already created, write an SQL command to add an attribute eDate. We have to add one attribute eDate into the table. So how can we add one attribute into a table? You can use alter command only. Alter table, table name. Alter table, table name is W stock. So we can write add. Okay, and then write the eData. Is it eDate? Yeah, eDate, and date is the field data type. Okay, and then you write the data type. Okay, and semicolon. So this is very simple one. Next is assuming that the table W stack is already created, write an SQL command to remove the column B quantity from the table. So remove is drop under alter only. So this is also alter table. Table name is W stock, and if you want to delete means drop, and then only the name of the column is enough, B quantity. It's not a case sensitive stuff, because SQL is not case sensitive like Python. So you can write it in capital, small, anything is fine. Okay, so this is also done. Now the next, which is the last question, 28A. List one advantage and one disadvantage of bus topology. Advantage and disadvantage of bus topology. Bus topology is one of the easiest model of the thing. I mean, it is very cost effective and the layout, and it's very easy to install as well. So if I'll write something about bus topology, means bus topology, cost effective, okay, and easy to install, okay. Now this is the advantage. If I'll go for disadvantage, it is based on central thing. So central failure risk, the backbone, which is the wire by which all other devices are connected. So central failure risk is there always. Central failure risk is always there, okay. Otherwise it is cost effective and easy to install because the layout is quite simple. This is, here you can connect one device, right? Here also you can connect another one device. So the layout is very simple, but this is called the center failure, I'm saying. Okay, so this center failure, if some problem is there in this center line, means obviously it will affect the whole layout, okay. So the next and the last question for section B is, what is protocol in the context of computer network? Which protocol is used to transmit hypertext across the web? So what is protocol? Protocol is a set of rules only that governs how data is exchanged between the devices on a network. Okay, so protocol is a set of rules that governs how data is exchanged between the devices on a network. And which protocol is used to transmit the hypertext across the web? Obviously HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol, and if it is a secured one, then HTTPS, hypertext transfer protocol, secured. Okay, so I hope you are clear with all the questions in this section. Still, if you have any doubt, you are free to drop a message in the comment. I'll try to clear your doubts. So in the next video, we are going to, discuss the remaining sections of this question paper. Thank you. Bye.